A new phase of the Russian war against Ukraine is expected to be unfolded in spring in a new format, with the supply of modern armored vehicles from the project called Tank Coalition. After another meeting in Ramstein in January, Germany, followed by a number of other countries, announced the transfer of Leopard tanks to the Ukrainian army. In fact, this may mean a transition from defensive tactics to the counteroffensive potential of the armed forces of Ukraine. However, it's subject to several factors. Modern tank warfare involves not only numbers superiority, and this is one of the arguments of the German Leopards, which in most cases will oppose the main Russian T-72 tank. It is not known yet which Leopard versions Ukraine will receive and in what proportion. In contrast, the Russian army has T-64, T-80 and T-90 in service, but their main tank is still T-72. A detailed comparison of these tanks with the Leopard is not entirely appropriate due to the different modifications, but there are several key points that can be turned into arguments. Leopard-2 in any version is larger, heavier and more powerful than the 72nd. Considering that both T-80 and T-90 are actually modernized base of the 72nd, we can talk about a trend. All Russian tanks have a tight layout and 3 crew members. The fourth one is replaced by a carousel-type loading machine of the Soviet design, which experts consider an extremely dangerous unit in condition of intense combat. Instead, the Leopard has 4 crew members, which can keep the vehicle operational longer after being hit. In addition, there is fundamentally different scheme of the ammunition loading, storage and protection mechanism. In the event of a detonation, a system of knockout panels is activated, which can compensate the force of the explosion with reverse-directed blasts, protecting both the crew compartment and the ammunition storage. The next fundamental point is armor. It is fundamental because the Leopard-2 has combined armor and the T-72 has dynamic armor. The latter are packages with directional explosives which detonate in the direction of external impact and actually destabilize the enemy's projectile, reducing its penetrating power. The combined armor of the Leopard is actually several layers of armor with the principle of steel-air-steel. Such sandwich drastically reduces the kinetic power of projectiles many times over. Dynamic protection is destroyed after a hit, and the next projectile meets the already unprotected hull of tanks. Combined protection is designed to withstand several hits, where layer by layer the armor works out its protective properties. The main combat arsenal of the T-72 is a 125mm gun with a greater penetration capacity than 120mm gun of the Leopard-2. In response, the German tank is noted for greater accuracy and firing range. This is where the maneuverability of the Leopard, which is the world's fastest third-generation tank, can come into play. Movement, rate of fire and accuracy can withstand power. Well, and probably the most important factor, thanks to modern avionics, that is, a set of communication equipment, GPS sensors, combined sights and electronic system of capturing and tracking targets, a group of Leopard-2 tanks turns into a single combat body, exchanging information about the enemy and acting in the most coordinated way. Also, the operating distance indicator of 460 kilometers plays into the hands of the Leopards instead of 380-kilometer dash of the T-72. Unfortunately, it is impossible to calculate the exact details of specific tank modifications and clash. However, the main differences and emphases should certainly be taken into account. Leopard-2 surpasses the Soviet tanks in terms of combat capability, speed and communication. The issues of maintainability, stock of spare parts and ammunition, as well as the compatibility of different versions of Leopard from different countries, which will fall into unified Ukrainian hands, remain open. But these issues have solutions, unlike the objectively unresolved issues of the main number of Russian tanks.